What's up guys, Renin DJD here, and this video is going to basically cover Diablo IV Endgame and what needs to be done in order to improve it. Currently as it stands, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of the loot, the XP grind, the mob density, all of it. So we're gonna read this Forbes article. I'm gonna include the link in the description so you guys can read it for yourselves, but I'm gonna read through it and then go over some of the stuff that they touch on. They touch on a lot of the endgame mechanics in Diablo 4. I also made it to endgame with my necromancer, so I can add my opinion to this as well. Let's see if we agree. So let's see. While Blizzard recently said that majority of Diablo 4 players have still not finished the campaign, which is pretty standard for most long-term games, I think he meant to say long-term games, many players have made it to the end game already. Blizzard has divided up the post-game campaign endgame into a wide variety of activities than just the initial rifts and adventure mode of Diablo 3. I'm not going to go into a whole thing about the endgame being seasonal character leveling, which is fine. I'm just separating. All right, he's talking about his opinion. All right, so let's jump into Tree of Whispers here. So Tree of Whispers, a good idea, a neat spin on adventure mode, however very irrelevant after World Tier 3, both in terms of the rewards from the tree and the amount of XP it gives relative to your grand totals. Would need to be significantly buffed in order to be relevant later in the game. I agree. When I first did the Tree of Whispers and I got that first legendary cachet, I thought that was going to be a reoccurring thing. Come to find out, nope, that's not the case. A lot of the cachets are either just regulars, and there's no real point in doing it. Not only that, it's kind of a chore. I stumble upon doing this myself by accident, and then I'll go and turn it in. After killing a world boss, I'll have it maxed out and then I'll go turn it in, and then the reward is some trashy item that I'm never going to use, so I end up just selling it or deconstructing it. But I hope they improve it. I think they will prove it in the next update in season 1 or season 2, but as of right now, Tree Whispers is just a joke and there's no point in doing it currently as it stands. Helltides. I think Helltides in a halfway decent space. You need to farm them for endgame crafting, upgrade materials at any level. Though they become kind of a joke with a moderately powerful build, it's fun type of activity. Decent XP for a little while for loot, though it feels like the only chest that's worthwhile is the secret 175 chest, and that will give you 4 to 6 ancestrals at once, so you can at least aspect hunt on those even if you don't use the stats. Helltides is pretty fun. I do a lot of my grinding there when it pops up. True, the loot could be a little bit better, especially with the chest. You would have thought it would be better, but I think they're gonna address that and improve it once they do the update and in the seasons. The mob density as well. Well, I haven't really had trouble with the mob density in Helltides, but overall Helltides is pretty good. I think you would want to go to Helltides with a strong build. You want to go there with some half-ass build where you're struggling against one mob, and the whole point of collecting those Helltide crystals or Hell crystals is in order to unlock those chests, and you want to be spending, it's only like what, 54 minutes, so you don't want to be spending like your full 30 just killing one mob for like 5 or 6 crystals. So agree to disagree with that one. Legion events, these are just deeply weird. Decent XP, a good smattering of rewards at the end, but truly bizarre experience in World Tier 4 as groups just blitz through enemies in microseconds, and it's probably the least challenging endgame activity in the game. Good for the relative rewards in terms of the time it takes and how easy it is, I suppose, but the fluffiest post-campaign yada yada, Tier 4 with wide margin. So Legion events, I don't know what they were going with this mechanic. As it stands right now, it's good, it's okay for leveling, but the frequency in which they pop up is so low that it just doesn't serve a purpose. So I don't know if they're gonna improve that later on, or if that's gonna become, is it gonna be better? I don't know. They didn't really touch on Legion events, but as of right now, as it stands, I wouldn't do. I stopped doing them. I used to do them, and then I was like, there's no real point. I'm more efficient just grinding out nightmare dungeons than waiting for this every 3-hour Legion event to pop up. But to each their own. You guys let me know if you agree or not. World bosses. Speaking of easy, again in World Tier 3, these were tough, but as everyone gets more and more powerful in World Tier 4, I've seen world bosses burn in seconds, and that is true. That mod, depending on who shows up, I think they need at least some level of buffs themselves. so they don't feel like jokes, and you know new ones will be introduced and they probably shouldn't feel like jokes either, but as such the rewards probably need to be better if they get harder. As of right now, they're not great, again, outside of some needed crafting materials. I agree, the world bosses are currently a joke because the loot pool that they drop is a joke. If they do buff them, they need to improve the loot that comes with it. If I'm going to be spending a large majority of this time fighting this world boss, the loot better reflect the time that I spent fighting him. Nightmare dungeons. If Diablo 4 has a singular main end game event activity that remains relevant at all levels, my son's waking up. It's the nightmare dungeons, the best source of XP outside of exploits, ancestral unique drops, and necessary for glyph leveling. They also have close to infinite scaling to challenging even the hardest of builds. However, they get very, very repetitive and limited number of dungeons, and they can become slogs at higher levels, which do not seem worth it. Barely increase rewards. Interestingly, Blizzard has confirmed Nightmare Dungeons will be buffed further, increasing XP gains through the upcoming patch. That is true. They did address it. They are going to increase the XP you get from doing these Nightmare Dungeons and make the loot more meaningful. I agree that some of the Nightmare Dungeons are very tedious, especially with the different modifiers for the Nightmare Dungeons are annoying, especially depending on your build. They're annoying as fuck. Like with the whole, like a lightning thing, you got to get in the bubble before it strikes while you're standing in a pool of acid or a pool of poison. I'm dead. I only got 4 revives. What's going on? But yeah, like I said, they're gonna address it, so hopefully that improves. All right, let's speed this up. Level 100 Lilith. I never did the Uber Lilith just yet. Currently, it's the hardest challenge in the game. I am super sure Uber Lilith will be forthcoming later, but for now, yeah, soloing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, unless the loot is unique to her, I don't see the point of doing it except for bragging rights. Rare hunting. This is a weird part of the game that was currently not part of Diablo 4 because of the ability to upgrade rares to legendaries. For an extracted aspect, you are now combing through dozens of hundreds of astral rares to find that high item level as one stat affix to help your build. But one problem with this inability is its favorite items, which means I've accidentally deleted ones that I was trying to save many times, and I don't mind the hunt itself, but it's item lock that's badly needed. Huh. So rare hunting. I don't really have an opinion on this. Really, if you think about it, as of right now, it's fine for what it is, but it is what it is in terms of the the loot pool and stuff like that, and the stuff you get for doing the aspects. I mean, you're gonna have to farm. There has to be a purpose for something with these loot games, so it is what it is. Hopefully they improve it. Uniques, I frankly shocked at how useless 90% of uniques are at launch here. They're supposed to be ultra rare, wildly powerful pieces of gear, potentially linchpins for builds. Instead, they often cripple builds more than they help when compared to ancestral legendaries in the same slot. Part of this is that their aspects need to be buffed outside of a few obvious standouts. They have locked stat affixes, so you cannot better confirm them to your build. I agree. The uniques are, some of them are trash, some of them are good, but you can't add a diamond slot to it, and you can't change the individual stats for it as well. But my son's waking up, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. What do you guys think of the Forbes article talking about Diablo 4 endgame content? Drop the comments section, let us know what you think needs to be improved with the game, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Anyway, guys, you guys take it easy. Let me go dress my son, but you guys take it easy. All right, peace.